Hello, this is Armand Castro from Nevermore Graphics and Evil Planet Games, and today I'm going to be showing you my latest asset pack called Vintage Mortuary. This asset pack is made for version 4.27, but it will run perfectly fine on 5.1 and onwards. There's unfortunately no version 5.0, but you can actually export and make a few changes from version 4.27. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So as you can see, it starts here at the lobby. This door is locked. It comes with sounds, if you couldn't tell already, and some of the objects are actually, well, they are blueprinted. They are made blueprint, so you can actually bump into the lamp and it will actually move. Some things work, such as that beautiful bell. Doors open. So we have the urns. There is a waiting area. There is some vintage Victorian couches. There is a table. There is a fireplace, which, as you can see, it flickers. The light flickers. And if you can hear it, the clock makes ticking noises. It has some beautiful volumetric lights. You have no idea how difficult were those to make. Like I said, the door is open and, well, you can actually... Yes. The toilet works, and so does the sink. Now, obviously you can close this thing as well. There's also a chapel with some beautiful stained glass windows. As you can see, they have some parallax occlusion mapping, so they are as 3D as it gets. There's some flower arrangements and candles, because you cannot have a wake without candles, obviously. There is coffins. I'll show you later how many are there. So these doors are physical, but first of all, I want to show you something I forgot here. So if you pay attention to the little clock, the second hand moves, and so does the minute and the hour hands, as well as this one clock. Yeah, they are both showing the actual time, which is 1:50 a.m. Yes, it is kind of late for me. So the doors also make noise. There is one of these guys, which I'll be showing you what it does later, because it's really cool. These things also open, as you can see. And the lamp as well, it moves. Right. There's also a cremation furnace. There's a bunch of crates, a bunch of boxes, some more coffins. Right. There is this thing opens. There is fire and brimstone inside, and there is this knife switch. It doesn't do anything. There's also these switches, which also don't do anything, because these lights are unfortunately baked, so I didn't bother connecting them to the main light. But, you know, if you are inclined, you can actually do that. There is also a embalming area, which does not have a lot of tools. Like, for example, it's missing a very important tool for embalmers called trocar, which I know that from the from a different game, which this asset pack is definitely not based on. It's actually made out of many asset packs that I made in the past. These things actually also open. There is a bunch of jars with chemicals. There's bottles with chemicals. There's a doctor's bag, a coffee mug, which, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but there is a pallid bust of Pallas and a telephone, which is right there, as you can see. Okay, let's move on. So there's one of these guys, which also moves, and this clock also moves. And there is also shelves, one with books, one with already loaded with chemicals, but you obviously can fill them up with whatever you want. The shelves come empty for your use. This, by the way, close, as well as the creepy furnace door. So what else? As you can see, everything is perfectly animated and totally useful. Anyway, that's what the asset pack contains, so let me show you its features. So right off the bat, here's what we got here. So first of all, it's a really small level. It's just to show you what it does and each one of the objects in context. So for example, there is this lamp, for example, which actually, let me hide and put it in game mode so you can appreciate better what it does. Yes, you can turn it on and off. This lamp actually has a movable light right there, and so do all of these, but in order for them to work well and look realistic, they actually, and unfortunately for you, actually have two lights. So one is static and one is movable. Why don't I use a stationary? Well, because this thing moves. So as soon as it moves, it breaks the bake, and you know. I'll show you the differences in just a little bit, the differences between version 5.1, which is which actually has lighting that is with lumen, and this one that has baked lighting. So because this one has baked lighting, unfortunately, if you turn this off, let's hide again. Yeah, see, it's still looking like that, but here you can have a, let's just call it virgin version. So you can turn it on and off, and it's looking fantastic. You can also turn on and off the, I think, no, actually you cannot. No, you can. Sorry, I forgot. Haha. So you can turn on and off the fireplace. It has, as you saw, a movable light. You can also put here a stationary light, which will actually work because you are able to bake, and you obviously you cannot move the or at least not right off the bat, you cannot move the fireplace. So you can turn on and off the lights. The toilet, you can, it actually works with a collision box, so does the sink. there's not much about the blueprints, but I will be showing you those later on. So for now, I just want to show you the actual the features of each one of these blueprints, just so you know before you purchase. Okay, so right. So as well, this has the vitrine. It actually has. You can move these around if you so choose. Oops, there you go. It's locked. Okay, yeah. So you can move them around in whichever way you want. You can fill it up with some things. You don't really need to have them filled with urns. That's just what I thought it would have in a mortuary's waiting room. There's not much going on here besides you can turn on and off these candles. They are using, as you can see, movable lights. There's not a lot going on here. Although there is something that you must know. This light that appears to come through the beautiful stained glass window, well, it is actually a spotlight, and it's not one spotlight, it's 3 spotlights. That's how it works. It's called a gobbo, which is using a light function, and unfortunately this is a little bit expensive. So you know, just so you know, use these with caution. Do not mess around with them. They will eat up your memory faster than you can say, oh my god. Anyway, moving on. These doors are pretty simple. They don't have anything going on in the except for the sound, collision sound. You know, so they make noise when you walk around. This, again, it's an interactable object, super simple. You can add that to the, well, I'll show you later how. You can add that to the telephone. And as well, here is the morgue freezer, which, by the way, it has 4 different objects which you can load them. They are different blueprints, and you can load each one of these with their own actual corpses or food if you choose, or anything. You know, this tray comes out, you choose how much it comes out. I'll show you later how to edit those, but for now, know that these actually are totally editable. Now, I promised you that I would show you what the special thing with the gurney was, and I am going to right now. So here's what it does. You can take the blanket off. Obviously there's no corpse underneath because, yeah, I don't want to be demonetized by YouTube. Also, I don't want to put this thing into a mature rating on the marketplace. So it's pretty tame by YouTube standards, or at least I am hoping, and marketplace standards as well. At least that's what I'm hoping. So you can take the blanket on and off, and you can take the blood on and off as well. But here's what's special about it. There's 3 different versions of it. So, yes. Okay, so there is 3 different blood stains. Unfortunately, it does change every time you move it. It resets because it's using the construction script to randomize, to pick a random texture for this thing. So I do recommend, if you want to stick with one, maybe just you know, maybe just add it, like just one single one. Anyway, moving on, we have the cremation furnace, which again works with one of these guys, collision. The only thing special about it is that the fire and the light come only and only when you open it. If it's closed, the fire is off and the light is off, just to save on resources. As well as the knife switch, it's like I said, it's not connected to anything, neither are these other switches. And just to make this even more special, this is not how it's supposed to be, but I'm gonna be showing you later, because you can actually customize where you have this wear and tear and these missing tiles and these broken tiles. They all have parallax occlusion mapping. It looks beautiful, at least to me. There's these very interesting and really cool, I don't know what these are called. They are like foldable gurney thingies for the coffins. Like I said, there's several versions of the coffins. I'm gonna be showing you the textures in just a little bit, but for now I'm just showing you the what's available. Now we're looking at it with a little more detail. There's some really nice shaders on the bottles. It looks like it's completely full, but I'll show you how to edit those in just a little bit. And here's another really cool thing. So let me hide those. So has blood. You can actually turn it on and off if you want. The scale hand does not move, but the tray does, and it swings back and forth if you bump into it. Unfortunately, there is some I didn't show you that in the demo, but if you swing it a little too energetically, let's just say, it will go through the pole. And it's not as visible here in the version, the 4.27 version, which is the most stable one. It's the one that works the best. Oh, also there is one of these embalming machines. Unfortunately, the little hose does not actually do anything. It's just there baked into the model. So yeah, you can actually, if you want, animate this thing. It's ready to animate. It's set as a separate object, so you can actually oh my god, it's so annoying. Okay, there we go. Yeah, well, I'll show you in a little bit. But yeah, it's a little bit finicky, but yeah, you can actually move the scale hands. That is why I did not animate it, because since this thing it's parented to the skeletal mesh, it will actually break the animation of the scale hand. So you know, you could have one or the other, and I decided to definitely have the version where the thing swings. Okay, moving on. These trays I'll show you in a little bit when I show you the actual models, but yeah, there are several versions of different things, just so you can have options. There's also color options, which I guess I'll show you now. So now you can see, like I said, this thing is baked. So all this floor is a single. I'm going to be showing you the meshes now. So moving on, I'm going to be showing you the meshes, and as you can see, they are a single mesh, but it's not how they are by design. These are actually modular, so you can make any kind of construction here, any kind of architecture, but this one is already merged, which you can see here in the meshes, the merged meshes. All right, so there is, just because what happens if you, let's not save it, what happens if you actually do not merge them, this is an unfortunate side effect of baked lighting. There are these very ugly seams, and there's no way of dealing with them other than just joining everything, merging everything, which you do by well, selecting, let's just say this is the floor, so you select all these. I like to go Alt 0 and to check out the light map density mode, and whatever you select, it turns pink, hot pink at that. So once you have the meshes you want selected, you can just go right click and then merge actors, and that should take care of it. All right, now. Okay, so I promised you that I will show you the meshes. Actually, no, let's take a look at the color options, because yeah, we are already here, so let's do that. Okay, so maybe you don't want this arsenic green wallpaper. Well, no problem, because there is actually a matte in here, and you can see it here. And if you don't want any matte here, there is several options. There is matte without the blue areas, which I'm going to be showing you now. Okay, so you actually have 3 colors in here. So this color obviously is gonna be for the wooden parts, which I use this color to simulate wood. Okay, and you can actually change the color of the background color of this thing, of the wallpaper, and you can change the color of the design of the wallpaper. Right, whatever you like. You can make it black even, or that. Happy accident, I guess. Anyway, I prefer the arsenic green because that's the most common or stereotypical color for Victorian wallpapers. But there's a bunch of other options which do not work for all of the textures, but we will be going over them with the next textures. So yeah, you can change the color of the wallpaper for starters, but that's not all. We also can change the color of the doors. So with that thing selected, by the way, when you're merging things, I'm going to be showing you that later, but when you're merging things, be careful not to merge the whole thing, because it's going to merge this thing with the doors in it. So what you want to do is come right here and take double, go like that, click on the magnifying glass to find the thing, then hide it just so you don't get rid of it, then use this, and if it looks weird, it's because it's backwards. So let's use 90-degree snapping, and voila, you got, and again, it's totally seamless. Unfortunately, you know, you cannot see that here because it is baked lighting. Anyway, like I said, the doors, you gotta be careful to select the doors, door 1 and door 2. And what you can do is Okay, so chapel aqua. Okay, so there is, let's just go, well, let's chapel, chapel, right? There is chapel cream, there's chapel dark red, which is almost like this burgundy color, and there is this white. I honestly prefer aqua, so yeah, as you can see, I'm using the cream colored one for the inside doors as well as these two guys. Anyway, you can also change the color of these walls, the tiled walls, which we have several options here. We have blue, and we have clean, but that's not all, because ta-da, there is also a color change here, which you can actually maybe even make them black, so they look metal. Whichever color you like. I mean, this is the one I'm using for the bathroom area, which is this weird aqua green. There is also a broken version, which if they are separated like this, you can make one broken and the rest of them should be fine. Oh, actually, you would need to combine them with the dirty ones. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it only works with the dirty ones. Okay. Moving on. With this thing, also you have several options. You have the clean version, you have the dirty, and the rusty. So there is the metallic one, there is aqua, and there is white, which kind of looks creamish, but it's because it is rusty. Okay, let's try the clean ones. And right away you can see it does not update. This is because it is using this cast blueprint, or rather a child blueprint. So you may want to come down here and child actor template if they do not change on their own, and come here. Okay, where it says clear metal, you can actually change them like that. Whoops. Okay, I missed one of them. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, so there is also aqua version, clean. There is also dirty versions, which let me show you. Let's use aqua for this time. Yeah, unfortunately, it does not translate very well. It's supposed to, but it doesn't. Can we change all of them at the same time? I don't know. What do you know? They do. And the reason there's they are separate is because they have different dirt designs, okay? So there is that. Let's take a look at the rusty version, which I found it looks better with this. With the metal. Now, it is important to also know that the interior is also changes, so bear that in mind while editing, because you can actually have a clean interior and a rusty exterior, or vice versa. Usually you know you would like it to be the other way around, because usually the enclosures are the ones that rot and rust. But yeah, there's your options. The floor also changes. Let me show you. Obviously you can also change the color, whichever color you like. If you like that black metal version, it suddenly becomes very dark and very hard to see. But yeah, you know, if you want to. What else? You can also change, make it damaged or dirty, but you'll notice nothing happened. I told it to be damaged and now it's not damaged. What happened? Well, let me show you, because this is really cool. So maybe you don't want the whole thing damaged, because I thought it would just look terrible. And I hate tiles. Not these tiles. I hate when something tiles, you know what I'm saying? So I do not like it when everything tiles. So as you can see, maybe this is the look you're going for. I don't like that kind of stuff. So what I did was to separate these guys. So let's make all of these. Let's give them all of them damaged tiles. Okay, so I apologize, my throat is a little sore because I've been working on other stuff. Okay, so there's that one, that's the first one. It's dirty but no damage. Then there is number 2, which has some damage. You can see it here better. And then there is number 3, which has all of the damage. It's completely gone. It's all messed up, right? So yeah, and they all tile. Obviously, that's the whole point. So they all tile and they work wonderfully. Now, I told you there's different options for the casket. So we have open caskets, because what if it's an open casket funeral and we have it slit here? They are labeled. So one is for white. So for example, this is red. You do have to actually you do have to actually line up by hand, but aside from that, it's perfectly fine. And the reason why I decided not to have them share the actual pivot point is because maybe you would like to add some physics simulation so the lid falls naturally on the casket, right? So that's one option. But anywho, yeah, there is black and excuse me, there's red, and also, oops, I messed up. There's red and there is white. Where is it? There it is. There is white, right? Okay, so now what else do we have? We have 2. So the closed ones, doesn't matter which one is red or which one is white, although they are still here labeled because that's the one that corresponds to each one. They are slightly different, so in case you want 2 let's say mahogany coffins, well, yeah, you get to choose just so that they don't look like they repeat infinitely over and over and over and over, because I hate that. Like I said, I hate tiling textures when you can tell. So what else is there besides mahogany? Well, there is also cherry, which are these beautiful red coffins. And then there is also pine, in case the person being buried is poor, because we all know that pine is for poor people. It's a really cheap wood, or at least that's what I think it is. There's nothing special about the materials of the furnace, so let's just move on to the next point in this agenda, which is the autopsy table, which does not have many options. It just has blood and bloodless, and you can take care of that here in the blueprint. It's just a boolean, super easy to use, super nice to actually play with. Right. So what else? Unfortunately, there's only 4 different of these guys, 4 urns, so you know, just be aware of that. They don't look like they are repeating so much, but you can see that one, that one, that one, that one. They are all the same. I just tried to make them not, because I wanted to save the space for these little cool chemicals, because I feel like it would be a bigger sin if the embalming guy, you know, has all of the same chemical. They're like 4 bottles of chemicals instead of you know, like you can have repeating urns, I guess. Anywho, obviously we can make it an open casket funeral, so ta-da, let's get rid of those. And I actually provide it with a laying corpse. Just these are basically just for you to judge the sizes, which by the way I messed up, but you can actually make the coffin slightly bigger, slightly smaller. It does not suffer too much unless you know, like stretch it like that. In that case it does look, you can have fat people, but yeah, or rather plus size, right? So okay, rest in peace. There's only one of these, and I'm going to show you next those guys. So I think we already went through. Oh no, we didn't. We still have the toilets, which they come in different pieces, so you can actually this does not come animated, so you can actually animate if you so choose. In case there's a lady in the house, well, put that damn seat down, you know. Be a man. Be polite. I always say that. So yeah, you can put the seat down, you can do many things, but one of the really cool things, the bathroom is a little too dark, so I have to, with Alt 3, I have to change the lighting mode so you can take a better look at what is happening here, because what we are going to do is to change these guys, and you can have really dirty. Actually, let's show it like that. Really dirty. You can have steel. It says so right here. They are labeled, and as you can see, they are also every folder, just so for easy navigation. They are color coded, so you can find your stuff easier. You can't see much here. It's besides some of the metal fittings are steel or brass, and you can have dirty and clean. That's pretty much it. But where it really shines, it's here with the toilet, where you can actually let's hide again in game mode. The reason I decided not to just change the color of the metal is because it has rust, and you'll see it becomes very evident that this is metallic rust, so steel rust, iron rust, it's reddish, or it's brass. Oops. Okay, yeah. These ones are a little dirty. There's pine wood, which again you can see better here. There's pine wood, there's walnut, which is darker. Pine wood dirty. Pine wood clean. Yes, and again you can change the color of the tiles if you so wish. There's nothing special about the chimney besides the walls that you can, like we already established, we can change the color. You cannot change the color of the sofa and the armchairs, unfortunately. Unless you would actually like to take this out and edit the graphics. The pews come only in that color. What else do we have here? Props. There are several types of glass, so let's dive now into the master materials because it's quite interesting. There's one master material to rule them all, which is kind of big. It's kind of big. Here we have the masks for the diffuse. There's no masks on the metallic because they are all packed textures. And I decided to actually include some of those textures for some that were actually you can get rid of them if you want to. They are not really necessary because you already have the AORMT, and but you know, in case you need to do something special or something or other, or you don't like those, you can still, you know, go back. They are separated there. Not all of them, because some of them were natively done within the AORMT space. So they are natively AORMT or RGB as I like to call them. Right, so there is an option for foliage. This is where those little these switches come into play, right? Yeah, there is chapel, there's furniture. So yeah, there is materials. There's master material which takes care of most of the materials in this place, but some things actually do need very specific tweaks, which is there is this cheap glass which you can I don't know where we have cheap glass actually. Right, let me check it out here. 1 second. Okay, so we do have cheap glass, and it's, as you can see, where is it? Oh my god, it's really not cheap. Well, you can actually make it cheap because cheap glass, we can just duplicate it, and it's because it has translucency. You can just make it masked. Save. It's gonna take a little while to save, and cheap glass. 1 second. Okay, so my bad. I was confusing it with a different asset pack that I have where I did have cheap glass. However, that glass had this ugly dithered look, which Unreal Engine didn't get rid of until very late iterations. So unfortunately, there is no cheap glass. My apologies. It does take quite a lot of processing powers, but as you can see, most of the materials are in the greenish area unless they have any special attributes, which we'll be looking at in a little bit. So since we are already here, let's take a look at the meshes. So from left to right, we have all the already compiled blueprints. So you already saw most of them. There is switches. There is the gobo, which again, it is kind of expensive. So what you can do if you do not want to, okay, so as you can see, there is this thing. So you can turn this into a sticker, into basically a decal, and you can actually put that on the floor instead and pretend that is it's the light from the thing. Okay, so moving on, there's candles, which you already saw them in action. There is the chimney. There is 2 types of lamps, no, 3 types. There is a vitrine shelf. I'll show you the blueprints later. We're just doing an overview of what's of all that is on and what hidden things. As you can see, yeah, there's the desk bell. There's the scale. There's 2 clocks. The toilets, which you can flush. I'll show you how they work in just a little bit, just the innards. There is the gurney, the embalming table, which you can switch the blood on and off. You can get rid of the blanket. The chest of drawers, this is very interesting actually, because as you can see, it only has the top 2 ones actually available, that functional. However, as you can see, there is 6 of them. So you can actually there's a 1 master drawer, which if you modify this one, it will reflect on all of those. And then there is these guys, which you can put stuff inside, such as this one. So they all have different things. But because I am using here a third-person template, well, it is kind of hard to aim for each one of these miserable drawers. So, you know, there is doors. As you can see, these are physical doors. So they work with physics. So there is with mesh and without mesh. Both of them have the aforementioned expensive glass, which I wanted to have a cheap glass in the beginning, which I guess that's why it retained that name. It did have a cheap glass, but it looked just awful. It looked just terrible, and I decided to, you know what, let's just waste a little bit of memory, but have the windows look decent. Which, by the way, since we're still looking at the materials, we have some options here, which we can make the glass blurrier, right? For these areas, right? We can make the glass blurrier. We can make the glass stronger. We can brighten. What's brightening is not actually the glass, but the reflection. As you can see, the sun looks super bright there, but in the glass it just looks all completely dead. Well, what you can do is do that. You can boost the lighting. You're gonna have to tweak it quite a bit, but in the end you'll get there. In any case, moving on, there is this physical doors, there is these normal doors which they only swing and make creaking noises, which you can change. There is a really decent sound library that comes with this asset pack. As you can see, you can change the name of the the texture of the doors. You can mess with this thing. It's super simple. I'll show you a little bit the blueprint in the blueprint section of this tutorial slash overview. Okay, what else? We also have cobwebs, because I don't know if you want to make your funeral home dilapidated and super creepy. So yeah, there is several types of beautiful cobwebs, which you have options here too. By the way, if you cannot select them, you press T, which allows you to select transparencies with or you know, like in this one. See, it selects through if you don't have the T selected, so you have to press T. Okay, so some options we have with this. So let's again hide. You have because I don't know how dark or light your scene is going to be, you have a bunch of options. You can choose to blend them more or less to the walls. You can make them more luminous or darker. You can tweak their opacity to make them stronger or weaker. You can make them pop a little bit more with the normals, like obviously I don't recommend you going overboard because it looks horrible. You can have more wind, you can have less wind, you can have the type of waving it does with the wind, and this one came with the shader for the grass, which that's how it works. So I'm not quite sure what it does, to be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. And because they are so almost invisible, maybe you want to get rid of the masking, just so you can position your beautiful cobwebs wherever you want them, and then once you have them where you want them, just turn it on and enjoy. Right, moving on. There is some decals, you know, for dirt. There's floor dirt, there is dirt splotches, there is dirt leaks, and there is rust leaks. So two types of rust, because as you saw, we have fittings in brass and fittings in steel. Right. So as I mentioned, empty bookshelves, so you can populate them with whatever you like, as well as the vitrine, which it's already assembled right here. You can put whatever you want in it, from urns to books to whatever. Cups if you want, because there's one singular cup. There's a bunch of drawers, which again, you already have the assembled version. There's a watch, a clock, and it has the disassembled. Remember this pendulum swings. There is two beautiful pews. Pew. There is an armchair and a sofa for the waiting area. There is bathroom, because you know, people have needs. There's a coffee table which you can put stuff on top of, and there is a non-functional cabinet. There's a non-functional cabinet that you can actually I think I made the... Yeah, so, you know, you can export it out and you can actually separate the... You can separate the beautiful the drawers. Okay, moving on. You have crates, 5 different kinds, beautiful. You have the disassembled furnace, cremation furnace, and a bunch of chemicals. Like I told you, there's a ton of chemicals everywhere. Very nice. Embalming chemicals. There's 2 buckets. I wanted to make it a skeletal mesh, but I thought it was just a waste of resources. So there's one with the handle up and the handle down. There's the embalming machine. There is the skeletal mesh, which here is it comes with a separate thingy for the thingy. There's the swinging doors with mesh and without mesh. There's a bunch of walls and a bunch of doorways. So there's one without the wooden frame. There's one with the wooden frame. There's for a double door. There's for a single door. For a double door again. Right? There is your morgue freezer. The handle comes a separate object. There's a half wall. There is these do matter how you assemble them. It's usually 1 door, 2. Okay, so there is 1 and 2. So it goes 1 doorway, 2. And I think it's 1 2 1 2 1 2. That's how they go. There is an inner and an outer corner. There's the morgue freezer interior. Again, the chandelier, you saw it in action. There's a floor. There's only 1 of these. There's your doors for the double doors and the single door. And there's a separator because we do have a version of the floor where it's a wooden parquet and, or parquet, I don't know how to pronounce it. And there is the tiled floor, which I already explained you. There's different levels of wear and tear. There is curtains open and closed, or rather open and closed, which you can actually animate with a blueprint. I don't think that's too hard to do. And there is a chimney, which you already saw in action. This is just the mesh. There is your walls, again, inner and outer corner. And there is 2 types of windows. One for this, which it shares the pivot point of the actual wall, right? These ones also share the pivot point of the actual wall, as you can see. Sorry about that. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Moving on. Finally, very finally, we have a bunch of assorted random props. So there's where you will find your books for your bookshelves, your urns, a bunch of flower vases, and the flowers to go with them. There's one laying flower, and these ones are for this one are for the vases. There's a telephone. There is a pencil cup with the pencils and one without them, just so you can put all the pens and pencils in it. There is a cross. There's a mirror for the bathroom, obviously. There's a bunch of cigarettes because, you know, someone lost someone. Someone is grieving. I lost my grandmother recently. So, you know, I was smoking a lot. So, there you go. There's the cigarettes because, you know, if you're grieving, you're maybe a little on edge, so there's for you to calm your nerves. There's a doctor's bag, you know, for the physician who's taking care of the autopsy or maybe the embalming, whatever. Maybe he carries his tools in a doctor's bag, which we can find right there. Which, speaking of, there is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tools, and you can repeat some of them custom. There is the tray of the instruments, or, you know, it comes already pre-assembled. There's the clock, the wall clock, the palette bust of Pallas, because I couldn't resist. A huge fan of Edgar Allan Poe. One of these to keep track of all of the things and the stuff. There's for paperwork. There's your blanket, which again, it comes already assembled here. And the way it works is only the white one. It's sharing Atlas with the chapel, right? With the chapel assets such as the pews. Where are the pews? I lost my pews. There they are. With it's sharing the Atlas. So just to not make it confusing, the white one is clean, while the aqua and the cream and the red, they all have this horrific blood stain. There's your gurney, where you're gonna be transporting corpses from the morgue to the embalming room. There is your flower arrangement. There is your beautiful IV. I forgot the name. There's your deer. There's your deer. Deer mount, because, you know, in Victorian times they just didn't care about animal suffering, I guess. And I think that's all of the assets, all of the meshes, which will now move on to the asset functionality, to the blueprints. So, right. Oh, by the way, it comes with a sky. So there is a skybox for the outside of the which you can, by the way, replace with anything you want. That's the one I had at hand. Okay, let's start with the blueprints. With the bathroom, which are both BPCs, and they are working with the master item, which we're gonna take a look first before anything else. So basically it's composed of a collision box, which only detects our player, so the pawn, and on overlap it unlocks the can interact inside of the mannequin. Oh my god, just that's quicker. Didn't want to go looking for it. I forgot in which folder it was. So yeah, E interact. So you press E, it tries to interact. If it allows you to interact, can it interact? Yes, it can, because as soon as you overlap, it allows you to interact, and it traces a line from this interaction sphere, which is in his chest. You can put it up and down, wherever you want to come interaction from, depending. Most people like to do this in first-person shooters, so I just use the third person just because it looks better. You can see the scale, you can see better the assets, so on and so forth. So I'm just saying, if you want to copy everything, just so you don't have to, just so you know what to copy and what not to copy. So anyway, it traces a line from the interaction sphere, which it's in his chest, and it takes a forward vector and 100 Unreal units in front of him, and the hit result, if it did hit something and it is implementing the BPI interaction, which interactor, BP interactor, if all those conditions are true, you get to interact with the character, which is a message. It sends the message interact. Okay, so it is interacting now, and now it is event interact. So this is your code. Whatever happens when you do interact with something, if all those conditions are met, you are overlapping the interaction area, so on and so forth. Yeah, that happens. This is what it does. In this case, it just moves the toilet lever, so this thing, up and down, or rather down and up, because you're pulling on it, or you're tugging on it, you're giving it a wee tug, and it moves, it rotates it. So set world rotation, toilet lever, blah 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 blah, and it does it in a sequence. So it also does move the chain. So it moves the chain and the lever right there, and plays a sound, which is a click, and this one, which is the, that's right, the toilet sound. Fantastic. Which I called water waste, because I was wasting water as I was recording it, just to get the perfect sound effect. Anyway, yeah, so here in begin play, it sets the rotation just so the engine knows what the rotation is, and then it adds to that, the drill. It's using a lerp node to do that, and it also detects the sets, rather the location of the chain, because it moves it up and down. Anyway, that's how the toilet works. Pretty simple. It is very similar for the sink, except it rotates these things a couple of times, So now we have a little different, so it just rotates them from 0 to 1, and then we lerp that to 180 degrees, because I'm doing this, I don't have the webcam on, and I'm doing this weird motion with my hands like you can see me. Anyway, yeah, it sets the world rotation, same dealio, event interact, plays a sound, the squeaky squeak, the that makes the sound, and either turns the audio on or off. It plays it, or it stops it, whichever the case is. So it starts with the sound off, then you open it, it plays it, you close it, it stops it, and activates and deactivates, as you can see, activate and deactivate the fountain, which, yes, this, I forgot to mention, this this asset pack does come with particle effect for maximum realism. Which reminds me, I forgot to mention the toilet has also particle effect. And actually, water toilet, right? Water toilet, right. So what it does here, it's just a whirlpool, looks realistic enough. What I really don't like is that it somehow disappears if you look at it from a certain angle, and I don't know what to make of it. I don't know why it's right here in liquids, water toilet, right there. Oops. Yeah, sorry about that. Right, so it's right there. In case you implement it from scratch in any other of your projects, do make sure you actually... I don't know why it actually doesn't really work very well in the level. For some reason, when you flush it, it only looks good from a certain angle. It must be something with the engine. I checked everything once, twice, and thrice. Everything works perfectly fine. By the way, if you see this thing going like that, it's normal. Once you edit or resave these things, they will actually run forever until you either turn them on, turn them off, or yeah, you need to restart the level. In any case, it doesn't affect gameplay. It's just an engine bug. This one, like I said, same dealio. It's using the set enabled, but it does not. All lights have this set enabled, by the way. It's working through the construction script. If you choose this boolean to yes, it will actually perform this, which it will set the visibility on the light, set the intensity on the light, change the material. In this case, it's all the same material. You can get rid of these nodes if you want to. I just didn't, because it doesn't really affect it, because it's not a dynamic thing, but you can easily turn it into a dynamic kind of deal with the... You just need to copy the nodes from one to the other. Specifically, where is it? Interfaces, lights, here in the main master item. Yeah, just create a BPC, so blueprint child, like that, and then you simply add this thing and have it turn the lamp on and off on turn the lamp on and off on activation. I'm sorry, it's 3 a.m. and I am falling asleep. So let's move on. There's a toilet, there's a sink, there's a bunch of lamps. They work similarly. Turn on and off. Yes. With a similar kind of system, and set enabled. These ones do have a lamp collision, so on event component hit, just so it doesn't, so every single thing that moves in the level doesn't go off as soon as you run the level. It has a check, So it takes 3 seconds after you load the level, just so they have the time to settle down. And now it's asking, has it played? Yes, it already played, so it's already there. So now you have, so if you do and perform an action during the first 3 seconds of your level, if you're too it will not produce any sound because of this node right here, just to make sure not everything goes blam when you load the level, because it can and will jump scare you, I promise. So yeah, it detects how much this is the sensitivity. The bigger the number, the less sensitive, so you have to bump it really hard, or the smaller the number, with every single tiny little movement it will go off. So sometimes with the level it will swing it a little bit, and that swing it will make this blam noise. So yeah, also we clamped it. There is depending on the vector length, so how hard you yanked it, it will actually make the volume louder or quieter. So if you moved it very, very weakly, it will be very, very faint. If you gave it a big whack, it will make it super loud. So yeah, you should it divides the vector length by this number, which is similar to that, and then it clamps it. Basically, you want to have it the vector length. You may want to have a print string, and then connect the vector length in there. Then do a few test runs, see how much it is moving it. And let's say it's 1000. So if it's over 1000, do perform the sound. If it's not, do not bother. And obviously if it's 1000, you cannot have a volume of over 1000 because you're going to go deaf. So what you want is to divide it by, let's say, 1000. So you divide it by 1000 and then clamp it from 0 to 0.5. That's the maximum loudness. So if you divide 1000 by 1000, you get 1, and that 1 you can either run from 0 to 1, so 1 would be the most loud, or if you already have loud sounds such as I do, it's already loud, so it's kind of jarring if you run it at full strength, so I decided to just have it halved. Anyway, that's how that works. And let's just go through all the other ones. Let's breeze through these ones. This one detects your date and your time, all that good stuff. It divides it by numbers, so those numbers correspond to angles. So the angles of these guys here, and sets the relative rotation of the clock hands, hours, minutes, and seconds. So this one changes every second, which means it's an event tick. That means it's going to be a little expensive because it's performing calculations every second. We don't want that. Maybe perhaps maybe have just one clock. Don't overdo it, unless it's a simple level like mine, in which case just have as many as you want, really. Anyway, pendulum swing, that's the, oh my god, I messed up. That's the swinging. Again, set world rotation, lerp from 1 to 0, 1 being -6, 0 being -6 and 1 being 6. The rest stay in the same place. Clock, same dealio except without the pendulum. The doors, same thing. All these work the same. They just have on event interact. It's a flip-flop. So it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If you activate it once, it goes A. If you activate it the next time, it goes B. That's all it does, and it just runs this back and forth, back and forth. As you can see, it reverses it. And if you activate it in the middle of it, the first thing it does, it stops it and then reverses it, or stops it and then plays it. Okay, it does like that. It works like that with all of the doors. Some of them, this one does work with a master item, but this one in turn is used for as a parent for, where is it, for the vitrine. So just so you know, we'll go over it in a little bit, but let's move on with the meshed doors and meshless doors, which, surprise surprise, do not have anything but the scale collision sound. Is just for door A and door B. They make this swinging noises, which we have kind of same thing, same system as when you bump into other stuff, same thing. And it just has a constraint, physical constraint, and simulate physics. We are constraining the position, the rotation, all except the Z, which it allows it to move back and forth, and it has a motor that returns it. It has a, here, where is it? There, angular motor, which returns it back into its original position, just so it can swing. Okay. Freezer, same dealio as the doors, except there is also one thing to move the tray forward and backwards. So when you open it, it moves outwards by itself, goes, and then you close it, goes back in. Now, it's very important for you to understand. There is this piece right there, because it first swings the latch, right? Swings the latch, so it opens. Then it swings the door, so here's in this area is where it swings the latch. There's the door opening, right? And then finally, the tray slides. So latch, door, tray, right? Cool. So now what happens when you reverse it, when you close it? Well, you need the same system, right? So it goes back that way. So that is why it has this this tail right here. Just just something you should keep in mind when you actually, well, remap the time. If you wanted to make it slower, slower, faster, so on and so forth, just make sure you you take that into account. We have a pretty similar thing going on for which I guess we'll address now, for the cremation oven. Same thing. We have this. That's the latch. That's the swing. See? It's not perfectly symmetric because you want it to close faster. So just so you know, you keep that in mind when you edit or where you are editing. Okay, moving on. Again, this is just like the drawers I showed you earlier. There is 4 of them because each of them has a different one of these patterns of dirt or whatever you want in there. But you know, in theory, you can just use the same one. If it's clean enough, you cannot tell they are different doors, or they are the same door. So just go ahead and use the same one. Okay, that's the interactor, that's the interface. That's the lamps. We already took a look at those. And there's the props, the chest of drawers. Same as with the morgue freezer. It has these things right there. Cool. For the props, it's very simple. Everything happens in the construction script. Has or does not have blood, so you can just changes the material. Remember that with the gurney, it has randomized, so you do want to just set a single material in case you want a single material to stay there. The scale, again, super simple, just skeletal mesh component. Skeletal mesh component. And it just, when you bump it, it makes noise. You know, scale goes brr. And there's a hand. It's pivot points right in the center of the thing, so it should, in theory, move like that. But once it's in world space, it messes up. I wanted it to actually move when you bump into it. Besides making the sound, it would just go haywire for a little while. But it quickly became like super hard to work with because it would not retain the angle of rotation for some reason. I don't know why. You're welcome to find out. The bell is super simple, just event interact. It's using, again, the master item. That's all it does, just plays a sound. It waits for 1 second to play it again. If you want to spam it, maybe you would like to change that delay to a little less. The vitrine, as you can see, it's using double door. This one. That's the gurney. The fireplace, same as with the light. It has enabled. And it has a flickering. So as soon as begin play, it flickers. By the way, the lights also flicker. Flicker on, flicker off. It does not flicker that much, but if you set the the minimum intensity to 0, it will flicker stronger. If you set it to 1.8, it will be super faint. Okay, that's pretty much it for this area. The switches, again, it works the same as the doors. It detects the rotation and then flip-flops between open and closed. Super simple. Same with the knife switch. And the widgets, well, that's the interact. I'm pretty sure you should have your own widgets for your own design. Finally, let's take a look at the differences between both versions, because there are plenty. So let's go to the test map. That's the main one, right? So right off the bat, you'll notice it looks completely different. That's because nothing here is baked. Everything is dynamic. It's all dynamic lights. They are all movable lights. Everything else is pretty much the same except for the look, because as you can see, it has this beautiful, I don't know why it's doing that. I think that's fireflies from the Lumen engine. It sometimes does that. I don't know how to get rid of that besides restarting the engine, but I don't want to waste any more of your or my time. So moving on, there you have the beautiful windows. You have the beautiful, for some reason these look better in the 4.0 version. 4.27, excuse me. But the chapel illumination definitely looks far better. Looks actually fantastic. This one, I would say looks kind of bad, to be honest, but not a huge fan of how shiny it looks. I tried it with different settings. You're welcome to tweak in case you don't like how bright it is, you may go here in textures and then tweak the green value of the AORMT texture that makes up the ambient occlusion, roughness, and metalness of this. The green portion is what takes care of the roughness. So yeah, it's worth mentioning that there is a lighting post-processed volume, right? So just so you know, it's far yellower, unfortunately, okay? It's far yellower, and yeah, that is why the lutes, that's one of the differences. The lutes, where are the lutes? I cannot find the lutes. Lookup tables, right? The lookup tables are different. There is a third one, while in the other one there's only 3. This one has the sepia, tungsten 1, tungsten 2, tungsten 3, which normally it would work with the first one, but as you can see, where are we? Okay, let's go there. Just so we can have a fair comparison. It is the same one, just without it's not as yellow and it's not as bright because it's using completely different dear God, it's using a completely different lighting system, okay? So yeah, just so you know. And obviously there's 3 of them. They look different and different. This one is more yellow. This one is slightly more reddish. Then there is the tungsten one. And there is an old-timey sepia one in case you want to make a period piece and, you know, maybe add some screen effects just to make it look old-timey. And loot, I was gonna write lol. Okay, so here we have this tungsten, which is brighter, this tungsten, which is darker, and also the sepia. Again, they look vastly different because they are using completely different styles of, systems for lighting, just so you know. But one of the advantages, this one does not have it. It is not connected to the light switches. In theory, you could connect it, and now this enabled switch turns the lights on and off, and it's really cool. So now you can turn the lights on and off. So that's one of the advantages. The other one is obviously that everything is ray traced. So make sure you are using a pertinent GPU. Or you can set it back, you know. You can set it back. There's the placeholders. What else? So yeah, other than this guy, which again pretty much same things except for the Unreal mannequin. Everything else is pretty much the same, and that's pretty much it. All right, well, I hope you liked it. If you have any questions, you may ask them in the comments down below, or you can contact me at the marketplace. I try to answer all the questions all the time and as soon as humanly possible. Obviously now I have a day job, so I am not able to answer in certain time frames, but yeah, I will try to answer as soon as possible. If I don't reply at the marketplace, don't hesitate and asking me here. I will answer ASAP, as well as if enough of you have enough questions about something, well, I will actually make a tutorial for that particular line of questioning. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you like the Mortuary pack, the vintage Mortuary pack. Anyway, until the next time, bye.